Hey guys, so we are continuing on with nouns. So we are on page 132, and there's two more jobs that a noun can do that we need to talk about. So we've covered subjects, we've covered predicate nominatives, direct objects, indirect objects, objects of prepositions, and there's a couple more things that nouns can do. They can be in a positive, or they can be a noun of direct address. So, in a positive, first, what is an appositive? An appositive is a word that follows a noun and explains or identifies that noun. For example, Nehemiah, the king's cupbearer, rebuilt the walls of Jerusalem. Cupbearer is the appositive for Nehemiah. It identifies who Nehemiah was. It tells us who he was. Who was he? He was the king's cupbearer. An appositive can be compound. The home run hitters, Babe Ruth and Roger Maris, played for the Yankees. So, Babe Ruth and Roger Maris are both the appositives for home run hitters. An appositive phrase is an appositive with all its modifiers. And that's true with any phrase, right? You have whatever kind of phrase it is, you have that object, and then you have any modifiers or complements that go with it. So, for example, Moses, the uncompromising leader of the Israelites, defied the powerful king of Egypt. Now, in this case, leader is your appositive, just the word leader. But everything else in that phrase helps to tell or modify that. So, the uncompromising leader of the Israelites, it tells us a little bit more. It goes more in depth. It modifies it. Non-essential appositives and appositive phrases are set off by commas. So what does that mean, non-essential? It means that it's not needed in the sentence. So if I were to say, Andrew, our next door neighbor, is a kind man, I would not need to put our next door neighbor in the sentence in order to know who Andrew was. But if I switch that around and I said, our next door neighbor, Andrew, is a kind man, you wouldn't know which next door neighbor I'm talking about unless I put Andrew in there. So in the first one, Andrew, our next door neighbor, is a kind man, we could put commas around that, indicating that we could take it out of the sentence and still know who Andrew is. In the second one, we would not put commas around the name Andrew because we need it in the sentence in order to know which neighbor we are talking about. Now moving on, a noun of direct address. It is the name of the person or persons to whom a sentence is directed. It's who you're talking to. If I said, Bob, push that chair in, Bob would be my noun of direct address because I'm directly talking to him. Have you shined your shoes, John? This case, I'm talking to John, right? So that is my noun of direct address. And it is set off by commas. So when you are putting a noun of direct address in a sentence, usually it's going to come at the beginning of the sentence or the end of the sentence, and you're going to put a comma around it just to set it off. Nouns of direct address can also be compound. Vanessa and Tim, it is time to do your work. Vanessa and Tim is who I'm talking to. So both of them are nouns of direct address. It is a compound noun of direct address. So for your exercises on page 133, exercise A, I want you to do 1 through 4. And it says write DA above each noun of direct address. Write AP above each appositive. Put parentheses around the word that the appositive identifies, and insert commas where necessary. So for example, Amber, our secretary, is very conscientious. In this case, I would, write DA above each noun of direct address. Secretary I don't have a direct address in this sentence, so I wouldn't do anything with that. But I do have an appositive. So above secretary, I would write AP, because that's my appositive in this sentence. And then what is the appositive talking to or referring to? It's referring to Amber. So Amber, I would put parentheses around. And also, I would know who Amber was even if I didn't say our secretary. So our secretary is non-essential. So we put commas around it. Exercise B, I want you to do 1 through 5. Underline each appositive phrase, circle the appositives, draw a box around each noun of direct address, and insert commas where necessary. You're basically doing the same thing, you're just working with the whole appositive phrase. So it kind of changes up just a little bit. So underline each appositive phrase. In this case, I would underline our secretary. I would draw a circle around secretary because that's my appositive. Once again, I don't have a noun of direct address in this sentence, but if I did, I would draw a box around it and then insert commas where necessary. So also, once again, I would put commas in there. And then exercise C, I want you to do all of C. And it says, combine the following pairs of sentences into one sentence containing an appositive. So we would take the sentences, Amber is our secretary. She is very conscientious. And we would make it one sentence with an appositive. Amber, our secretary, is very conscientious. Now moving on to page 134, we are going to start talking about gerund phrases. Now what is a gerund? Gerund is a verbal. And what's a verbal? It's something that looks like a verb, but it doesn't act like a verb. It acts like something else. Gerunds always act like nouns, and they always end in ing. So it's a little bit easier to find them in the sentence when you're looking for them. So for example, hunting is Tyler's favorite pastime. Ooh, hunting. That looks like a verb. It ends in ing, and it's not acting like a verb. That must be my gerund. In this case, it's acting as the subject of a sentence. Now remember, like a noun, since a gerund is a noun, it can do all the jobs that a noun can do. It can be a subject, a direct object, a predicate nominative, an object of a preposition, or an appositive. It can do anything that a noun can do. A gerund phrase consists of a gerund plus any complements or modifiers. So once again, we're talking about a phrase again. And we are talking about what the phrase consists of. So it consists of our object, which is our gerund, right? And then any complements or modifiers that go with it. So for example, writing your assignments in a notebook is good practice. What is my gerund in that sentence? My gerund is writing. Writing your assignments in a notebook is my entire gerund phrase. And the entire phrase is acting as the noun. And in this case, it's the subject of the sentence. So what I want you to do is exercise A. I want you to do the odds. And I want you to underline each gerund, draw a box around each gerund phrase, and then identify the use. How is it acting? Which noun job is it doing? So let's look at the example. Riding horses used to be a common mode of transportation. Riding horses. Ooh, riding. Riding looks like a verb, and it's not acting like a verb. That must be my gerund. So let's find our verb. Used to be. So what used to be? Riding horses used to be. So that must be my gerund phrase. Riding, I would underline riding. I would draw a box around riding horses. And then I would say, how is it being used in the sentence? Well, in this case, it's the subject. So I would write an S above it. So that's exercise A, and do the odds. And then exercise B, I want you to do all of it. It's 5 sentences, and I want you to write 5 original sentences containing gerund phrases. And I want you to illustrate each of the 5 uses. So for sentence 1, it would be the subject. For sentence 2, the direct object. Sentence 3, the predicate nominative. Sentence 4, the object of the preposition. And sentence 5, an appositive. If you have any questions, please let me know. Reach out to me through Google Classroom reach out to your parents, have your parents text me. I can give you my cell phone number directly. If you have any questions concerning this material, please let me know. It's what I'm here for. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.